How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I thought I'd take this opportunity to clarify some things. You're probably seeing some negativity and some criticism floating around the internet, be it YouTube, Reddit, or wherever, about Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. And there are reasons for this, including some of my own videos where we discuss things like microtransactions and stuff like that. And I just want to clarify that any criticism from me or from any of these other videos are all because we just want to see the game succeed, and we want people to be as aware as we are legally allowed to make them about some concerning things. When it comes to the microtransaction stuff, I know that they've said on their FAQ page that there's no plans for microtransactions at this time. I've highlighted that several times, and I'm just making people aware that that phrasing leaves it open for interpretation, and on the Steam page, it already lists in-app purchases. So I just find these things weird and something that people should be aware of. Now, the number one thing that's got a lot of people making videos or posts criticizing things about the game, even though it's not even out yet, is the announcement that there's bots in the game. Okay, and this is from their public Discord, so I can show you everything here. It was this statement here, and I went over this in a previous video that I recently privated because I didn't particularly like the way I phrased certain things. But basically, this is going over how they want to ensure that Quidditch Champions PvP is the smoothest and fairest experience possible with short queue times. And to do this, they've announced that the game is going to be 3v3. And the way they're going to accomplish this, because at least what we know from the films or the books, there's 7 players on each team, is there's going to be bots that fill in those open positions. Now, a lot of people don't like this idea or concept because obviously bots don't reflect any sort of player skill, right? Imagine if you're playing League of Legends or something and half your team is always bots. Now, you may feel that way already, but this time they're actually bots. So if you lose top lane because your top laner is a bot, how does that reflect your team's coordination, teamwork, or team skill? It doesn't at all. You can't communicate with a bot. Likewise, if you get scored on because your bot wasn't properly defending a goal, or because you couldn't properly communicate with the bot, that's incredibly frustrating. And I don't see how this is a more fun or fair experience for anyone. As far as things like the broom level up stats, which again is publicly released, it's in the trailer, we've broke that down before. I don't think that's conducive to a fair experience either, because we see in the trailer that there is a upgrade material for that, meaning more experienced players will have those materials and be able to upgrade all of their brooms, and they don't need a bigger advantage than the experience they already have. And you can see a lot of people are very critical of this idea with a bunch of downvotes and angry response or reacts. Okay, and so it looks like skill points is publicly released, so I'll touch on that too. Basically the same exact thing as the brooms, right? Now we know that there is a career mode and a PvP mode that's also publicly released. I think things like these broom stats and skill points, they can work for career mode only. Now, I do think it's interesting being able to have different builds possibly for PvP, but you have to give players the ability to do that outright. We don't know if that's the case or not publicly, but if it's not, then again, it just gives experienced players more of an advantage. You need to let all of these things be unlocked for players to freely and openly customize their skills and brooms from the start for multiplayer to be a fair experience. And obviously, if we scroll back through prior announcements when other playtests were going on, right, there is no one downloading anything, no one is upset about anything, strictly this post. So I think it's safe to assume this took the community by surprise. And why would it take the community by surprise when playtests have been ongoing for a while? Obviously, there was a big gap between this most recent playtest and the last one. Draw your own conclusion from that. Another thing that was pointed out to me is they've been actually changing the FAQ page. Things like before, it used to specifically say a competitive online experience or something along those lines. It definitely used the word competitive, and now it simply just says PvP. And it really just makes people think that they're moving away from this game being a competitive experience to just a Quidditch World Cup experience almost. which, that would be fine if that's what they had stated from the beginning, but it's not. So people had expectations that you set, and again, draw your conclusions from people not being upset before, but now being upset. It's certainly not what people were expecting. There's full leagues that have started to get built around this game, other content channels, such as my own, that have been building around this game for both competitive reasons and just for the love of Harry Potter. And half of those are now going to be in shambles because I don't think there's going to be a big competitive scene for the game unless they change this to include more players to fill those positions and get the bots out of there. I don't understand why bots have to be in the conversation anyway. Or even just give people an option to either play with bots filling the team or not. People are used to solo queuing in team games. Again, League of Legends is an example. Rocket League is an example. You can give players an option to solo queue or not solo queue. It's not that difficult. And even on this channel, I really wanted to eventually get to the point where we could have different community highlights, host different tournaments, maybe with some sort of prize for first place, stuff along that. Really build a community around the competitive scene for the game. And now I just don't think that's going to be possible. And like I've said before, I am a huge Harry Potter fan. I mean, this is just a very, very small fraction of my collection. Very small fraction. But I wouldn't have bought all of that if I didn't love Harry Potter. So I understand people have been waiting for this game for a while. But believe me when I tell you that this probably isn't the actual game you've been waiting for. I don't think people have been waiting to play with bots. I think they've been waiting to play with all of their friends and go against real people in the game of Quidditch. And I want the game to succeed. We all want the game to succeed. We all want the game to be the best it possibly can. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sway you into not playing a game that you'd probably enjoy anyway, honestly, because it's a Harry Potter game and because it is Quidditch. I'm just trying to make you aware of the current situations and manage your expectations. Now, we're still about a month out to launch, so there is time for things to change, but I honestly don't know if they're going to. Until then, I'll be monitoring this page daily, looking for any sort of new announcement. I mean, hell, I'd even take an announcement saying we've heard the community, but we're not going to be able to make these changes before launch. But rest assured, we will be adding a 7v7 mode or 6v6 without bots. That would be enough for me to restore my pre-order because I actually canceled my pre-order, which pained me to do. Like you, I've been waiting for something along these lines for I don't even know how long. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify some things. If you see other criticism of the game kind of like this floating around, there is legitimate reason for it. I know some of it might be upsetting to hear, or maybe you don't even care. And if you don't care, it's perfectly fine. But all these people are trying to do is manage your expectations of the game and let you know that there's a lot of people unhappy about it. And why they're unhappy about this, again, you're going to have to interpret that yourself. I know I said in my previous video that hopefully the next post will be happier, but I just wanted to clarify these things.